Oh, all right. Hey, here we go. Welcome to Mad Sports Talk. This is our first episode. Get ready for a show. You're going to love it. Hey, I'm Joe. This is Damien. We're both excited to do this show. This is our first episode, obviously. So, Damien, why don't you tell the people about yourself?
All right, man. My name's Damien. Um, High school coaches. That's how I met Joe. We coached together at Bellevue East High School in Bellevue, Nebraska, doing our thing there. Huge Dallas Cowboy fan for myself. Huge Philadelphia 76er fan. Huge New York Mets fan. Um, as I've stated, and you probably know by this, I haven't watched a championship in over 25 years. So it's been a while. I'm starving. And as a Cowboys fan this year, the curse is broken. This will be the year. Go ahead and tell them about yourself, Joe.
Yeah, we'll see about that, man. I'll pull it for you guys, actually. So, Joe Mesa, I am also a coach at Bellevue East High School. I retired from the military here in Nebraska. That's why I'm here. I'm a KC transplant. So, been here for a while. Oh, let's mess with the camera here while we're doing a live. That's cool. All right. Anyway, KC transplant. I'm a huge Chiefs fan, Royals fan. I'm a Lakers fan because back when I was growing up, there was only ever two basketball teams on TV because we had to change the channel with pliers, and it was the Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody in the KC area was a Bulls fan because Jordan was playing. Everybody had their Bulls jerseys and all that stuff. So I wanted to be different, man. I followed the Lakers, and that turned out pretty good for me. I got to watch Kobe, which is one of my all-time favorite players. Jordan is too, by the way. I have nothing against Jordan. I just
Jordan's
wanted
the
to be,
greatest.
yeah, just wanted to be different than the crowd, man. So that's why I'm a Lakers fan. Follow all sports, love all sports. Follow some UFC. I anticipate following that more closely now that we're doing this channel because I do love UFC and MMA. But yeah, just really excited to talk sports with my friend and see where this leads us, man. So with that, now you guys know a little bit about us, and we're going to get directly into our playoffs and kind of thoughts on the NFL playoffs, our picks. Damien, if you want to start us out with the NFC and your thoughts on that, man.
Yeah, just sorry. Right before we go into that, though, our goal here is just to create joy, give you guys just a few minutes to get away from whatever your day-to-day grind is, whatever you want to do. We're just here to talk sports, have a good time.
Yep.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel and everything else. Like I said, we're starting up. We're just trying to have some fun. We both love sports, and we just want to enjoy talking sports with hopefully you guys, if you guys decide to join on and follow us and everything else. So
Yeah,
that's
that
what we're
would
looking
be
to do.
sweet to build like a community where we can see like we're learning a lot of stuff too. I've had a couple failed YouTube channels. This will be my third attempt at a YouTube channel, but this is the first time I have a partner, which I'm really excited about. But we're learning our software here. I mean, we could see if somebody was in the stream right now and wanted to comment, we can see that and talk back and forth. So super excited to build hopefully a community where we can have a back and forth. That would be really cool.
Yes. All right, so jumping into the playoffs. First thoughts is I'm gonna start off with the NFC. I'm an NFC guy, Dallas Cowboy fan. He's a Chief, so he knows the AFC a little bit more in depth. But we're gonna start off with the number one seed, the San Francisco 49ers. Um, in the past, I have called this a great team. After their game against the Baltimore Ravens, that has probably dropped down to a good team for me. I can't call them a great team anymore. Um, but hey, they're a team on a mission. I will say that. They lost Purdy against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game last year. Second or third play of the game for them.
Yeah.
That's possibly a whole different ball game if he's playing that game. The play he gets hurts on the touchdown pass if his arm doesn't get hit. If you've seen the replay of that play, I don't know if you've seen it that deep. That's
Oh
a
yeah.
touchdown pass, and that's a whole different ball game probably on that play.
Yep.
With
I
that,
agree.
but this is a team on a mission. They got Purdy, they got McCaffrey, who has made a world of difference to that team. Um, until the Ravens game, I had him as my league MVP. I now give that to Lamar Jackson as far as that goes. They got two great receivers, Ayuk and I don't know why the guy's name's escaping me.
Debo.
He's
Debo.
Debo. Got
I got
Debo
you, bro.
Samuel. Kittle's probably the best left tackle in the game, and Williams over there.
Yeah,
Um, Offense is solid. Um, on paper, their defensive line should be the best.
should
Um,
be.
Chase Young, Bosa, great defensive tackles lined up inside. Warner
Hargrave,
might be
yeah.
the best. Yep, Warner might be the best middle linebacker there is in the game. I mean, that dude is all over the place. Would love to have him in a Cowboys uniform. It ain't gonna happen, but it would
I
love to
was
just happen.
surprised to see him not be the first team All Pro pick.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that shocked me on that. He's especially the way he has balled this year. I mean, that dude is a beast.
he
I mean,
is,
he is
and
all
like
over the field.
nothing against Roquan at all. Like he's an
No,
animal, but I just think Fred has been the best. He's been like the standard of inside linebackers for I don't know 4 or 5 years now, right?
yeah, I mean, he's been solid. I mean, he's just been all over the field doing his thing, and can't argue against that guy whatsoever, or anything to that effect with it.
Yep.
Um, so, I mean, the 49ers, they got to go
Oh,
into this as the. Well, we
oh,
lose
we're good.
something? What happened?
No, we're
All right.
good. Damien,
Okay, yeah.
we switched the scene up there that we weren't supposed to. No big deal.
No, we're good.
Hiccups of
Um,
our first live stream. No big deal.
yep, first live stream. We're good. We're working this out, man. We're working it
Yeah.
out. We're good. Um, but yeah, 49ers got to be the favorite for the NFC. Um, been the best team this year overall, top to bottom. When they played the Eagles, they played the 49ers, or they played the Eagles and they played the Cowboys. They were out to prove a point, and they proved some points those 2 weeks when they beat both teams respectively and everything else. So,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on the 49ers? You got anything?
Yeah, man. Like I'll just say, I know you said you thought they were a great team, and now you've downgraded them to a really good team. Um, I'll push back on that a little bit. I still think they're the best football team in the NFL. I
Okay.
think they're the most complete football team in the NFL. When I look at them, there's not a lot of weakness, and if I had to pick on something, it would be their interior offensive line, and well, really everyone that's not named Williams on that offensive line. Um, but they still get it done, man, and they had some pretty high Pro Bowl votes on some of those guys, which we'll get into both of our feelings on the Pro Bowl here in a bit. But I just think I don't see a lot of weaknesses there, man, and the weapons they have are just it's hard to beat those guys, man. The only weapons in the league that you could compare and say maybe have a chance to be better than the 49ers weapons are the Dolphins.
Top to bottom, probably. I can't disagree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't disagree with it.
And I think honestly the Niners are better because they have an elite tight end.
Yeah, with
So
Kittles, he's
yeah.
there was a time when he was getting compared to Kelsey. I think he's fallen off that train a little bit. Still a great tight end, but I think he's fallen off that Kelsey train.
He's fantastic. To me, he's easily the second best tight end in the league, and they just use him a little bit differently than they use Kelsey, obviously. I know the Kittle fans out there that want to say he's the best tight end in the league, which he's not. They always go to the blocking, and the blocking is absolutely fantastic. But this is 2024, and if I need another blocker on the field, I will just put out another offensive lineman.
Yeah. Just make sure you report him eligible.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my lord! Yes, we may need to take a detour and talk about that if we get time later.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Niners, man.
All right. Did you want to go into the Ravens top seed AFC?
Yeah, I can do the Ravens. So Ravens, I really like the Ravens. There's no ill will or bad blood between Chiefs fans and the Ravens, as far as I know. I fully respect that football team. Great defense. Great running football team. In that way, they're very similar to the 49ers, defense and a run team. I know over on the other side there, people are going to be maybe wanting to remind me that the 49ers have been really good at passing the football, but I would say that's because their play action game, and that's the same with the Ravens. If there's any weakness in that defense at all, it's against the run. So a little bit weaker against the run than they are against the pass. They're a very good pass defense football team, which to me is probably the most important thing to have in a pass first league. Offensive line play can be a little bit down at times, especially when they have to throw the ball a lot. That's not their forte. So when you get them off their game, that's where you can beat them. And they did lose to the Steelers earlier this year because they couldn't score the football. They just couldn't. They couldn't get in the end zone in that game. They got away from the run. They threw the ball 38 times that game, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Um, in contrast, when they blew out the Dolphins, they only threw the ball 21 times in that game. Lamar was 85.7% completion rate in that game. They ran the ball 32 times for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. 5 yards a carry. The big thing for those 2 games that I'd like to point out, in both of those games, they were over 100 yards rushing and had 5 yards a carry. They just did it more in the Dolphins game. So they need to stick to that, stick to their game plan. Play action is huge for them. When they play action, they're 73.7% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. And that changes dramatically, drops down to 64% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions when there's no play action. So they're a different football team when they can run the ball and use play action. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, they definitely are. The hard part about the Ravens, I don't think the Ravens do anything where it's going to stand out and be super great to you when I watch them play. They're just a really solid team. Their defense is playing phenomenal, top defense in the league, I believe, this year. Points per game wise and everything else. Their defense is just spectacular. The one thing that's really great about the Ravens is, especially when you're playing against their offense, is you could defend their play perfect, and then there's Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
And you can't account for what he can do, and that's what makes them so tough to beat, so tough to handle. I mean, I knew they were a good team. I knew they were a great team. They went to San Francisco, did something I didn't think anyone could do, and that was just completely dominate the 49ers.
Yep.
Miami walked into town, and granted, Miami hasn't beat winning teams really. Weren't that good on the road, and they just handled Miami. Just handled them. And so Baltimore is my favorite. Would I be shocked if they didn't make it out of the AFC? No, I wouldn't be shocked. But because of Lamar Jackson, I've just got to give him the edge because he is someone that you can't account for no matter what happens. You can play him perfectly, do everything just right, and you can't stop that guy.
Yep.
He's just a faster, quicker, probably a little bit better of a thrower than Michael Vick, in my opinion.
Yep. I'm going to give the Ravens their flowers, man, and I'm going to make them my favorite in the AFC, pending what the Chiefs look like, man. And I'll say this is the reason why, because Steve Spagnuolo is very, very good at shutting down Lamar. So if that ends up happening, my favorite may change because Spagnuolo is very, very, very good at making Lamar very average. So we'll see what happens with that. I think the Cleveland Browns are also a defense that can give him trouble. But right now, the Ravens are it, man, in the AFC.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll dip into that. I know we're going to kind of go down in order of the seeds and do those matchups for the games. I'm going to come back to Dallas last because that's a personal matter for me, especially with that coming up. So we're going to skip around that one a little bit for myself, and I'm going to jump into Detroit, and I'm going to jump into the Rams lining up here. So conspiracy theorists will say this is the NFL script, getting this one set, getting it ready to go. You got Jared Goff hosting his old team that got rid of him after he made a Super Bowl appearance for him and everything else. Traded for the quarterback that took the Rams to the Super Bowl, got the Rams their Super Bowl victory. I got a buddy who's a Rams fan. He will tell you he'll take that trade every day of the week. Yeah. Everything else to that effect with it. He loves Stafford. He loves his Rams. He wasn't saying that when the Rams were, what were the Rams, 3-6 at one point? He wasn't. Yeah. He was almost done with the season. He was pretty much done with the season. But he did mention their running back, Kyren Williams.
Yep.
Early in the season, he was doing a great job, phenomenal job. Kind of came off as a surprise. I believe it's his second year in the league. He was hurt his rookie year a little bit.
Yep.
But he has done a phenomenal job in giving that team what they had when Todd Gurley was there, when Gurley had that really good year. the thing that McVay is doing really well this year with this Ram squad is he's gone more under center again, keeping that running attack alive, using motion again to keep defenses off track. And that's what I really love about the Rams. Um, as a Cowboys fan, I'm not going to lie. Rams are my pick, who I really wanted to get into the playoffs, and I didn't want the Cowboys to play the Rams week 1 in the first round. I did not want that matchup. Part of my
Really?
main reason for that is because I need the Rams to go knock off San Francisco. I'm not going to lie. That's my hope. Rams take advantage of this division rival. They take out Detroit, and then they go to San Francisco, march in there, and they take out the 49ers, and the Cowboys are hosting the NFC Championship game. I'm being biased on this. That is my hope. That is what I'm going for. I'm not trying to hold any secrets back from that, but I am rooting for the Rams for these next couple rounds. That is what I'm going for.
Don't the 49ers kind of own them? Like,
maybe so, but it's a divisional rivalry game. The division rival game. Man.
It's difficult to beat any team 3 times in a year.
It is. Well, the Rams won the last game of the season. Didn't count.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I don't. Indeed.
And then when the Rams went to the Super Bowl, they knocked the 49ers off in the NFC Championship game as well. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah. There is a precedent. Just sounds funny to me but I think higher of the 49ers than you do a little bit. But I know you think
it's not that I don't think high of the 49ers. I want the Rams to be the team and knock the 49ers out. That's what I'm hoping for. I think they're the only other squad that could possibly do this on that path.
Man, my buddy Jay, he's going to be hot when he sees this one. we might have to have him on sometime to rebuttal this.
Yes. But Aaron Donald, I mean, what can you say about him? That dude is a beast up front.
For sure.
Probably the best defensive player in the NFL for the past, I'd say top defensive player overall for at least the past 5-6 years in the NFL. There's other great players, not knocking them out or anything like that, but Aaron Donald's just one of the most dominant players in the front, especially on the defensive line. They got Matthew Stafford, who over the past 6-7 weeks has been phenomenal. I mentioned how good that Ravens defense is. He lit that defense up. They lost to the Ravens off a punt return in overtime. I mean, he lit that Ravens defense up. Threw for over 300 yards on them. So the Rams are, with everyone fully healthy now. Cooper Kupp, the rookie Puka. I mean, he came from nowhere. I don't think anyone saw him doing what he's doing whatsoever.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
No one saw that guy coming along. Offensive line, I will say, is questionable for the Rams. Stafford gets hit quite a bit, but he can step in, make the plays. Looking over at the Detroit Lions with that matchup for them, I can't say enough great things about Dan Campbell. Gosh, if I was a player, I think I'd want to go play, leave everything on the line for that dude, man.
I love me some Dan Campbell too. I, as you know, question a little bit on the play calling there against the Cowboys at the end of the game, but that's a 1-game thing, and maybe we get into that later. But
yeah, it was. To be perfectly honest, it was a one-play thing, and at the time, I didn't think that game would matter because I thought the Eagles would run the table. So really, to me, that game didn't matter at that time. It was a game to kind of try some stuff. But we'll stop. We'll talk about the Eagles here in a little bit. Cowboys fan, you know how I'm gonna feel about those guys a little bit.
And you know what? I have a weird kind of relationship with the Eagles too because I love the Kelseys. I love both the Kelseys. I love Jason. There's a few players on the Eagles that I truly like. But I can't stand the Eagles. So it's a weird love-hate with them. Like I'm just being honest. I don't want anybody watching the show trying to say, "Oh, he's biased." Well, yeah, I'm biased, but I'm gonna tell you my biases, and I'm gonna try to do my best to overcome them. So,
hey, we're not saying we're insiders or anything like that or non-biased fans. We're who we are. That's
exactly.
We're gonna be who we are.
That's not to say that I don't appreciate what they do as a football fan. You know, I don't know. It might be their fan base, to be completely honest.
Oh, trust me. It's the fan base. It's the fan base. Trust me.
Ooh, we got some heat. Yeah. We want all the smoke over here. All right.
Yes, it is the fan base. But Detroit, they're hosting their first playoff game since '92, I think it is, when they actually beat Dallas in the playoffs. I believe this is their first hosted playoff game, first ever game in Ford Field. Crowd's going to be electric. Can I see them winning this game? Yes, it's a game I see them winning. They got Gibbs, who at least they know how to use a running back that they took in the first round, unlike the Atlanta Falcons. They actually know how to use a rookie running back that they take
Mm-hmm.
early in the draft. Um, they got Goff, who's hit and miss. That's the one question about Goff. He is still a hit and miss quarterback.
Yeah.
St. Brown is phenomenal. The wild card I would say for their offense is going to have to be Jamison Williams. See if he can actually show up, because I believe Laporta is out for this game with an injury, the tight end.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
going to hurt him.
Laporta's out.
Um,
Um, Question for you. It's kind of a sidebar here.
yeah.
What is with Jamison Williams? Do they just not like him? Do they not know how to use him? What is the deal with him? Because like that dude's a weapon.
Well, next year I think will be his year to really prove himself. He
Mm-hmm.
missed the first 6 games this year because he got busted on the gambling suspension.
Yeah.
So coming off a torn ACL his rookie year, didn't get into the season until late.
Yeah.
Missed the first 6, 7 games this rookie year. I don't think he's ever had a full chance to really integrate himself to an NFL schedule
True.
and just get that full preparedness. So we'll see what happens after. That's why I think next year will be his real proving year. But I call him a wild card for the Lions because he
Totally
can
agree.
get deep. He has the speed. Just see how it gets used for him and everything else. So
Totally
that's my
agree.
feelings on him.
Guy's a physical freak.
He is. Aaron Glenn, Lions defensive coordinator, has done a great job with them. Changed him from more of a man-to-man to more of a zone this year. So running a little bit more zone, but he still will run man-to-man. He likes to blitz. He likes to pressure. But like I said, man, I'm taking the Rams. That's what I'm picking. I'm taking the Rams. I'm sticking with it. I got my reasons, and that's what I'm doing.
Gotcha. All right, so with that, I'm going to go into the Bills Steelers. If you're all good with the Lions game there, my
Yeah,
pick
I'm
is
good.
actually going to be the Lions for that one, just to put it on record.
All right.
I'm going to take the Lions, but I know why you're taking the Rams, and I don't disagree with you. I know, Kyron Williams is a difference maker, and if they can't get that under control, it's a problem. And then let's just be honest, man. If Dan Campbell makes some goofy ass play calls like he did last time with against the Cowboys, I don't know. Maybe I love Dan Campbell, man, but maybe not go for 2, 3 times.
It's
Anyway,
like I said, man. I don't think they thought that game really mattered, and it was just let's just get this game over with and get out of town.
he's hyper
Plus,
aggressive, man. I think he'll be even more aggressive in a wild card game.
yeah. But I think he felt insulted. Mike McCarthy threw the ball 3 straight times with under 2 minutes.
That was
He's
terrible
like,
clock management.
yeah. I think he just took the. I just think he took the mindset. If they're going to do this, we're going to go down and score, and we're going to win the game there. That's
Yeah,
my opinion with it. So I don't blame him.
I think he stuck with a decision. And I wasn't necessarily against the decision to go for 2 originally. But when you get backed up and you're 7 yards outside the end zone and you still go for 2, that's goofy to me. Just kick the extra point and
Mm-hmm.
go to overtime. But whatever. I get it. I think he was just sticking with his decision. I think he wanted to show his guys that he believed in them. I get all of that stuff as a coach. I just think sometimes you got to let the cooler heads prevail and be like, hey, man, let's take the point and go win this in overtime. But like you said, maybe they didn't think that game was that important. So,
Yeah.
so Bills Steelers. This will be an interesting game. I'm not the most thrilled about this game. I don't particularly think this game should be close, and the main reason is T.J. Watt being out. He is such an impact player. Can't say enough about him. I truly think he's the best edge player in the game. And yes, I know Nick Bosa exists and Miles Garrett exists and all those guys. I get it. I just think TJ, he does so much, man, and he gets out and does a little bit in the run game. He does a little bit in coverage sometimes too. Very, very interesting player. Um, to not have him, that's trouble. And the Steelers' offense, let's be honest, has been really bad. They've looked better with Mason Rudolph. He's done a few things for him. He had, one really big game, I think. Pickens changes the offense if they actually use him, but I don't know if they will. He's had a great year: 63 catches, 1,140 yards, 5 touchdowns. And I know a lot of people give him flack for his run blocking, but he actually,
Okay.
my thing is, let me put this out there as a disclaimer. I don't necessarily agree with PFF grades often, but I think it is something you can add into the conversation as an objective piece. And PFF grades him at a 79.4 for his run blocking, which isn't bad for a wide receiver at all. It's just, I think he gives up and gets frustrated sometimes. I think he's a little bit of a head case, which is why the Chiefs passed on him twice and took Sky Moore, which was a terrible mistake. But I think they had concerns with him mentally and attitude wise, and that's why they passed on him twice. And we've seen it some with the Steelers when things aren't going his way, he gets to be a little immature at times. So we'll see what goes on with this game. Bottom line is, I just don't think they can overcome the Bills. Josh Allen's too good. That offense is too good. They can run the ball, and unless you stop Josh Allen in the run game, you got a lot of problems. I know a lot of people talk about turnovers with Josh Allen. He's had 22 total turnovers. That's fumbles and interceptions for this year. But he's also accounted for 44 touchdowns. So 15 rushing touchdowns on the ground. That's nothing to sneeze at. He's making a difference in the run game on the ground. They're decent defense. They got good coverage. I just think it's too much for the Steelers, honestly. I think they need some pieces and probably a new quarterback.
I don't disagree with you on that. The way the game should play out. Yeah, I don't have any disagreement, especially with TJ Watt not there.
Yeah, if TJ is there, it's a different game.
You mentioned Pickens and the Chiefs passing up on him twice. Cowboys had a chance to draft TJ Watt and they took Taco Charlton. So,
Rough.
Yeah. And the Cowboys were looking for a pass rusher that draft.
Yeah, but we make a habit of it in KC. Like, we passed on DK Metcalf to take Hardman. Like, they have a type with the receivers, and they need to stop. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they don't know what they're doing drafting receivers. The only one they've hit on is Rice, and he had some drops early on and wasn't doing great. He's turned out to be the best rookie receiver in franchise history. So that's fantastic, but it's almost by force because nobody else in the receiver room can play. I don't think he would have had the year he's had if they weren't forced to go to him because nobody else in that room can play football. So
yeah, don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But back to the Bills and Steelers though, just really quick. Only way I see the Steelers staying in this game is the weather could shift it completely to neutralize Buffalo. If Watt was playing, I'd have more faith in the Steelers just because he's a playmaker. He's going to make plays. But with this weather in Buffalo, they're talking about possible lake effect snow and everything else rolling in.
Yeah.
Just don't know what could fully happen. Josh Allen has had problems with handling the ball this year. He's made bad turnovers.
Yep.
And to me, the reason why their offense has turned around is because they finally decided to involve Cook into their offense a little bit more.
Yep.
But even on top of that, this guy has a fumbling problem though still. He has a fumbling problem. And so you just never know how that's going to turn out because usually when the Steelers win, it's not because they've dominated you in any kind of way. It's because they figure out ways to get turnovers and keep themselves in the game.
Yep.
And so that's the one chance I give Pittsburgh. But
if it gets to be a messy game, then yeah, I agree. If it's just an ugly, messy game, that's the Steelers' best chance, man. I agree completely with that. I think, though, the weather that you're talking about, I think you run Josh Allen a whole bunch. It's the playoffs. What do you get to lose?
That's what they should do. But
yeah,
we'll see what they do. But yeah, I'll go Buffalo. Make sure I keep my oldest daughter happy with me too.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime. But she's a Bills fan.
Yes, she is.
So who's next on your list, man?
All right, man. I got the Eagles and Tampa Bay. We're gonna go into that game right there. Eagles and Tampa Bay. Man, what has happened to the Eagles? I mean, that's the biggest question. They have hit a tailspin. What are they, 1-5, I believe, coming down the stretch here? I don't even know what to say with them. People are going to say I'm biased because I'm a Cowboys fan. I talked to you about it a little bit last year. My friends know I was really big on the Eagles last year, even as a Cowboys fan. I knew the Eagles were going to come in and be legit last year.
You were, and I remember you
This,
specifically
yeah,
telling me like you didn't think the Chiefs could stop them, and like you were high on them, and
I
I
was.
thought that was strange for a Cowboys fan, but
And I was rooting for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong. I was rooting for the Chiefs. But I told you going into it, I was like, I don't know how you're going to do it. I
yeah,
said it going into it.
yeah,
Um, this year, I knew they'd take some steps back when they lost both coordinators, especially the offensive coordinator,
yep.
because when you look at Jalen Hurts' first year as a starter, Sirianni, I believe, called the plays up to week 5 of that season. They switched it over to the guy that went to the Colts, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, and I need to do better research and make sure I have that off the top of my head. But once he called the plays, that's when Hurts got into his groove with the Eagles. And I noticed that going into that Eagles season last year. And then that's why I really liked the Eagles last year. Once he left and went to the Colts, I knew they'd take a hit. Just knew they would take a hit on that side. I didn't expect their defense to drop off the way it has, and their defense is stumbled. And I don't know if that's because they're used to playing with the lead and they don't have the lead. Um, their pass rush isn't what it was last year.
Shane Steichen.
Shane Steichen. That's what I thought it was. Shane Steichen. Um, Jalen Carter, while I think he's eventually going to become great, he started off the year spectacular, has fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
Davis is really good against the run, but not a great pass rusher or anything to that effect with it. So teams are just stretching them outside if they need to stretch them outside. The weakness on this Eagles defense is their linebacking core, and their secondary couldn't guard me right now if I ran out on the field and ran a few routes probably.
Yep.
Just being perfectly honest. I don't know what Slay's status is going to be for this game. I know he had knee surgery, but they're expecting him back for the playoffs. AJ Brown, not Antonio Brown. AJ Brown's coming off that knee injury against the Giants. See what his status is. Their other receiver, Devin Smith, he had a messed up ankle. I'm sure he's going to give it a go. I'm sure AJ Brown's going to give it a go. But the other key injury that they're going to have is Jalen Hurts with his finger. He busted his finger against the Giants. Couldn't throw the ball. Couldn't come back in the game for that game. Watched a press conference with him earlier this week. He says it's progressing. Didn't say it was getting better. When they asked him if it was getting better, he said it was progressing. So we're going to have to see where that goes with that. So as far as the Eagles go, they're going to be in a little bit of a – this will be a good test for them. But it's playoffs. Everybody starts fresh, so maybe they can pick it back up and pick up where they left off from last year. Tampa Bay, I don't know what to really say about Tampa Bay, man. Baker Mayfield could be the comeback player of the year.
One second, real quick. Darius Slay was a full participant in practice on Thursday, so he should play.
Okay, so he'll be a go for them, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's going to be good for them, but they lost their rookie safety. He tore his ACL, who was a starter for them.
Yep.
So they're going to be, like I said, they're going to be in some damages.
Is that Sidney Brown you're talking about? Sidney Brown. Right?
I believe, yeah, Sidney Brown. That's that.
He made that huge 90-something yard interception return.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago? Yeah.
Yep, against the Arizona Cardinals, 99-yard interception return. But you know that game, they never forced the Cardinals to punt. They never forced the Cardinals to punt that game, which is crazy to me.
Even last year, I wasn't a huge fan of their defense, and it is the secondary in the linebacking core. Their D-line is pretty special. I'm not huge on Hassan Riddick as a pass rusher either. Like, he's a linebacker.
I like him, man. I'm not gonna
lie. Patrick Mahomes is not fast. He ran away from that dude. Just say it.
Hey, if you listen to the Eagles, it was the turf. The turf messed it all up.
So we all playing on the same field, bro. I hate that. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, you're right. I'm playing on this fantastic grass, and you're playing on shit grass. Come on, man.
I'm just saying what they said was the reason, man.
They had a lot of
excuses. What their excuse was.
Yeah, they had
just saying what their excuse was on that, man. Yeah. But Tampa Bay, I mean, they still got Mike Evans. I'll be curious if he's a Buccaneer after this season because he wasn't happy. Yeah, he wasn't happy going into the season. I know that for sure. Their running game is below average, if that, for Tampa Bay. Defense is solid. They still got a very solid run defense. I was looking that up for them. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. That's going to be my pick. But the Eagles, if they get out of this tailspin, I'll be shocked. I'll be really shocked because they are just not playing nowhere near where they were. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like their head coach. Can't stand him. Don't think he's a good guy. Not that he's not. I shouldn't say he's not a good guy. He's probably a really good guy overall and everything like that. He's just cocky and arrogant, talks too much trash and everything else. I don't know if you saw when he left Arrowhead Stadium after they beat the Chiefs. I don't know if you saw him in the tunnel on that.
Yep. So I don't know, that was their Super Bowl, I suppose. Like, I don't know, man. Like I get where you're coming from with that, and I will say this because there are times on this show that I'm going to say I don't like a guy. I just want to clarify, unless I say that I don't like him as a person, I just mean as a football entity.
Yeah.
I don't have anything personal against anybody unless I specifically say I do. So, yeah, I get it. Nick Sirianni, probably a cool guy to have a beer with. I don't care for him either, man. Not my cup of tea either. But yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. I think you're right, dude. I think it's the Bucks and Baker's on fire and good luck, man. I don't know. Jason Kelsey might retire. Well, we'll see.
I think I do. I think he's probably done after this year. Lane Johnson might even be done after this year too. To be perfectly honest, he's a really solid right tackle that they got. He did a really good job when they played Bosa.
I think he's the best right tackle in football, personally.
Lane Johnson could be.
Yeah.
He could be.
Yeah.
He didn't do that well against Parsons, but I don't think
tough.
many people do. Yeah, I
It's
don't think many
tough.
people do against Parsons or anything to that effect with it.
That's
When we mentioned
matchup.
Eagles, we mentioned Eagles fans earlier. It sucks, man. Two of my best buddies are Eagles fans, and I got to hear it from them all the time about just stuff, man. They wake up and they just post stuff or send me stuff about the Dallas Cowboys struggling and things of that effect with it, man. No reason. I tell them Cowboys live rent free in their head all the time, things of that effect with it. Not gonna lie, I still live off the 3 Super Bowls I got to watch. I tell them it's more than they'll ever get to see in their lifetime, which is fine with me and everything else. So I mean, lifelong fans, lifelong friends, and things of that effect with it.
Yeah,
I've gotten to enjoy my Super Bowls. Plan on seeing another one pop up and everything else for us and everything like that.
Yo, shit, man, we got people commenting on here.
That's my boy. That's one of my boys right there. That's already commenting right there. That's one of my boys.
Perfect.
That's one of my boys commenting. See, that's the type of stuff I got to deal with all the time, right there.
Everyone hates the Cowboys, man. Not as much as the Eagles, brother. I'm just saying.
It's the Eagles fans, man. Like, I don't know if you saw when they won the Super Bowl, an Eagles fan ate horse manure, man. It just
what?
True video. Eagles fan ate horse manure when they won the Super Bowl.
I didn't see that.
It's what it is. There's an Eagles fan that's chasing the subway down the road and he runs into a pole. Just runs right into the pole, man. But that's typical Eagle fans right there, man. That's the type of stuff we got to deal with all the time and everything else. They got to remind themselves how to spell their team's name and everything else, doing their chant and stuff to that effect with it. But that's all right. That's what they got to do. Make themselves feel better. Put other teams down. That's what they got to do. So we're good, man.
D-Rob wants all the smoke today.
Yeah. I don't mind it with Eagle fans, man. But I will stand by. Yeah, I know. That's what Eagles fans do. That's just what they do. They just try to make you feel bad. Everything else.
Oh man, we're getting some comments on our first stream, man. I like it there.
Yeah.
Cunningham jersey. All right.
Go ahead and give your thoughts on the game, man.
Yeah, so I that's pretty much all I got, man. I'm picking the Bucks. Baker's been playing great. I think, it could go either way. If the real Eagles stand up and play, then it probably won't even be close, to be honest. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles win and win big. And they should. But I don't know what's wrong with them. Like, they need to get out of their head. There's a lot of guys on that football team I really, really like. There's a lot of guys I care about on that football team as players and want to see them do well. I hope they get it figured out, but at this point I can't bet on that, man. So I'm going to pick the Bucks, and Baker's a little bit of a gamer there, and we'll see.
I think the Eagles whipped them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eagles whipped them earlier this year. Swift rushed for over 200 yards on him, and they haven't used Swift since. Like, he's just been a side piece.
He's
after
healthy.
that.
I mean,
So I don't.
he's healthy this week, so they should use him. As far as Jalen Hurts goes, I just want to say this. I love Jalen as a human being. Like, that dude is such a grown man. Like, I love the way he acts. I love the way he conducts himself. He's a coach's kid. You can tell he's a coach's kid. Love that
Yes.
about him. I'll be honest, as a quarterback, I don't love him. Not my style. I think his arm's a little bit of a noodle arm. But, that being said, as a person, I like him, and I hope they succeed. I love Casey Kelsey. A lot of guys on that team I really, really like. So, um, as far as the Bucks, I mean, I like Mike Evans. I like Baker. The other guys on the team, I just no attachments to any of those guys whatsoever. So I'd actually be happy to see the Eagles win this game, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Games in Tampa. Um, I just, especially based on the last few weeks, I got to take the Eagles. Eagles defense is just really in shambles, especially that secondary, and that's Tampa Bay strength.
Kenneth
And Tampa
Williams
Bay,
is Kenneth Williams is saying Hurts has a finger issue. I actually didn't see that. So,
oh yeah, he
um,
hurt it against the Giants. Can't grip a football right now.
yikes,
Yeah, having
yikes.
trouble.
That's rough, man. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I want to see everybody healthy. So, all right. So, is it my turn, man?
Yeah, your turn.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the Texans Browns game, and this is actually one of my favorite games, and I want to. I really am excited. Um, Kenneth's on fire right now. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he is. He's trust me, man. That's what
um,
I got. Just imagine him when the Cowboys lose. Just imagine him when the Cowboys lose. Man. That's all I say.
hey, man, a lot of people don't like Baker. Kenneth, I get it. I do. I think he's a gamer. I think he has done well in the pros. I think the Browns were crazy to ever let him go. He was the only guy that did anything with the Browns of any substance, in my opinion. And then they let him go for Deshaun Watson, which was crazy. That was a dumb contract, which we'll get into over here in the Deshaun Watson Bowl, in which he will not be playing. So the Texans, man, I'll start off with them. C.J. Stroud is phenomenal. I love the kid. He was my favorite quarterback coming out in that draft. I didn't think it was all that close. I'm not a big Bryce Young fan. Didn't see it. Didn't like him. Not as a person. Like, he's a great kid, but smart kid too. But I just not as a quarterback. Not my cup of tea. CJ, on the other hand, is, and the dude is balled out. 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. I think is the big thing to point out of his stat line for the year,
Mm-hmm.
which is just really impressive for a rookie quarterback. Nico Collins went off and had a breakout season. They lost Tank Dell, and that's unfortunate. That was another part of their big rookie class. What a great draft they had. And they're good on special teams too, and they have a decent defense. It's underrated. It's not like an overpowering defense by any means. But the truth is, last time we saw these two teams play, Amari Cooper torched those guys for 200 and let me look at my notes, 265 yards and 2
Yeah.
touchdowns. So it's a hard game to pick. Flacco's been on fire, 5 games in the filling in for the quarterback role at the Browns, 1,630 yards, 13 touchdowns, but he has thrown 8 interceptions in those 5 games. So he needs to chill that out. I mean, he's been balling out. Nobody says he's not, but the turnovers got to come down. Um, I think that going into this game, D'Amico Ryans is going to have a plan to make sure Amari Cooper isn't the guy that beats them. So I don't see a repeat performance there, which makes this game a little bit hard to pick, to be honest, because that game, last time they played, it wasn't all that close. Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith had big games, rushing the passer. There was a lot going on there, but the Browns, they are probably going to, well, I won't say probably. Thornhill and Ward are both questionable. If Ward's out, that is a huge deal.
Yes.
Um, Delpit is out, and he's an underrated safety that I really like, and they're good in coverage. But if Ward isn't 100%, maybe that makes a big difference too. So we'll see. There's a lot going into this game. It's a really hard one to pick. Truthfully, I could go either way. Super excited about watching this game. I'm going to be pulling for the Texans. I am taking the Texans. I like D'Amico Ryans as a coach. I like him as a defensive mind. I love what he does defensively. Two offenses, and I don't think that he's going to let the Browns do what they did again, which is my reason for picking the Texans. But I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way.
I'm with you on that. I'm taking the Texans. I think the Texans were just kind of in shock that first week when the quarterback C.J. Stroud, he had a concussion that week, didn't get to play. I think that kind of took the energy from the Texans out a little bit. Cooper had a huge game. Yes, former Cowboy, Mari Cooper, miss him in Dallas, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Most really underrated receiver. At least doesn't get the push that everyone else does, as far as being a wide receiver does in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud. I just love the dude.
Me
Um,
too. Me too.
I mean, Myles Garrett will be the difference in the game for the Browns defense if they do win this game. He's going to have to dominate, and the guy has the ability to do it, to just take the game completely over and do some things, make some plays. But if he doesn't do that, I'm taking Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud. The biggest stat that I've been hearing is C.J. Stroud struggles against man-to-man coverage, and the Browns happen to
Mm-hmm.
run a lot of man-to-man coverage. I think that has to do somewhat with Stroud's wide receivers. Doesn't have the guys that can really go out and make plays or anything to that effect with it.
Nico's a big guy. Nico's what, 6'3"? Like, throw it at him, man. Let him fight for one.
Yeah, he'll make the plays. I mean, it's been hit and miss with him being healthy too, though, and everything to that effect with it.
You actually
Yeah,
reminded me, real quick, if you don't
yeah,
mind. I did want to say that one of my picks for a sleeper guy in this game, and you reminded me with the man coverage thing, was actually Brevin Jordan, their tight end, who has not played a huge role in the season. I think he only has like 230 yards all year. But I just kind of noticed some stuff when I was doing research on this game in particular, some targeting and some matchups. When I was looking through some PFF numbers and looking at a little bit of film, I think they may go at Brevin Jordan a little bit. So watch out for that.
my,
I could be wrong, but it's a sleeper pick.
I was going to highlight T.J. Schultz for the Texans, former Cowboy tight end for the Texans now. Um, that's who I was going to mention, but I do like the Houston Texans in this game. First home game for them playoff wise in a while. I can't
Long
remember the
time.
last game that they've had. It's been a while. Um, but I'm going to go with them. I think D'Amico Ryan's done a great job coaching that team up, putting them in position. And like you said, he's a defensive coach. He has the strategy. I think he's going to be able to get it done with that squad. Not that the Browns aren't a good team or aren't a great team, but Flacco has thrown 8 interceptions in his 5 games that he has played. Um, he has that gunslinger's mentality right now, and I think it's because he's like, screw it, I just got off the couch, so I'm just throwing the ball around and doing what I need to do. Can't be any worse than what's happening for the squad anyway, what they had it going at quarterback. But I do like the Texans to pull out the victory here. Don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game by any means or anything to that effect with it. But there's not many quarterbacks right now in the league that if I need a drive with about a minute left, I'm probably taking C.J. Stroud in that type of drive. He's already proven a few times he could do it this year. So there's not many other quarterbacks I would probably take ahead of that guy right now as a rookie.
Kenneth Williams, yeah, he's talking about Dalton Schultz.
Who did I say?
I don't know. He put in there with
Oh,
question marks and exclamations
okay.
Dalton Schultz. So I don't know if you said the name wrong or whatever, but yes,
Yeah.
that is who you're talking about.
Oh, he's talking about the tight end that you mentioned.
oh, okay. Well, hey, man, Brevin Jordan was a dude in college. He's a rookie. He's a part of that fantastic
Oh, no,
draft
I think
class.
I said, never mind. I think I said TJ Schultz. Maybe that's what I said.
Oh,
Maybe that's
gotcha,
what I
gotcha,
said. I might
gotcha,
have said
gotcha.
TJ Schultz. See, I'm telling you, man, typical Eagle fans, man. They're always ready to correct a Cowboys fan on everything.
Hey,
That's what
say
they
what you
try to
want to say,
do.
brother. I'm gonna thank these dudes in the chat right now because all the engagement we're getting is huge for a brand new channel on a first stream. To get all this kind of engagement and back and forth in the chat really helps us with the algorithm. So I appreciate you guys watching, man. And yeah, for sure, Kenneth Williams, all love, man. I haven't met you yet. I look forward to maybe meeting you sometime. He
Yep.
said he's having a cigar down in OKC,
Yep.
so I know when you guys go out for cigars and stuff, I want to join you sometime, man, for
Yeah.
sure. Next
Kenneth
time.
Williams, Arturo Andrade Jr. Yeah, these are my friends. I've known them for quite a bit of time. I sent them the link, and I'm glad they're participating and looking on.
Hell yeah, man. I should have sent people a link. I didn't even think about it. I was too busy trying to make all this techie, gadgety stuff work.
Well,
Yeah.
that's all
Turo
good,
says,
man.
you don't want to meet that dude.
Uh,
Oh, I love it. He said, you don't want to meet that guy. All right. So is it my turn now? Are we going to
um,
the next game? Or you have
you
more
just
to
did
talk?
Browns Texans. I don't know if you want
Oh,
to
my
do
bad.
Chiefs. Yeah, I don't know if you
No,
want to
go.
do your Chiefs game or.
No, let's keep it back and
All
forth.
right.
I kind of lost track of
Yeah.
where we were at.
No, we're good. All right. So the next game, of course, is Cowboys Packers. Um, Game's going to be big for me. I mean, that's all I can say about that. This game is very personal for me. Game very big for me. Let me make sure we didn't miss any other games, right? I just want to make sure. Cowboys Packers. Yeah, that's what we're on right now. All right. Um, this goes all the way back. My boy Kenneth, he'll tell you about all my heartbreak. He always talks about it all the time.
He's
Everything
telling me
else.
about some of your heartbreak right now. He said he's going to come into town to pick up his fantasy football trophy.
Oh, that.
Oh, love it, man.
But
Love
no,
it.
Cowboys heartbreak. Cowboy fans, we know goes back to the Romo snap, Romo drop snap, the
Yep.
Dez catch. Was a catch, and the ball never hit the ground. I still stand by that on that one. The Rodgers toss, where he's rolling left, throws 40 yards down the sideline, drops a dime, everything else to
Yeah.
that effect with it.
Yep.
Heck, I could go all the way back to the Patrick Creighton drop when the Cowboys played the Giants and
Patrick
things like that in the
Creighton.
Clayton. Yeah.
Man, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, Cowboy fans, we don't mention that name anymore. That's why, because he dropped that pass. We don't mention it. We don't mention that guy. He was a good receiver for Dallas, though, overall, but he's just heartbreaking things to that effect with it.
Yep.
This is the game I truly expect Dallas to dominate. People are in love with Jordan Love. That's fine. He's putting up stats and things of that effect with it. They weren't in love with him after 4 weeks into the season. They were complaining about him, saying how he wasn't living up to his expectations. Packers running game is solid. They got Dylan back there, Aaron Jones back there. Running game solid. The Cowboys' run defense, I will say this, people criticize it. It is underrated as a run defense. The games they have lost, yes, the run defense has been the main factor for why they've lost these games a lot of times. Let me take it back. I don't even really put it on the run game. The games they have lost is because the Cowboys' offense couldn't get going. They'd have a good opening drive, and they'd be gone for 2 quarters, and then the other team's offense gets to dictate the game and everything to that effect with it. So I really love this game in a blowout scenario for the Cowboys. I don't know how the Packers can match up with CeeDee Lamb. He had a better year than I even thought he was having. I didn't realize he only finished 50 yards behind Tyreek Hill for yards for the season.
Yeah.
Things of that effect with it. Led the first Dallas Cowboy ever to lead the league in receptions.
Mm-hmm.
And Cowboys have had a lot of great 88s, as everyone
Yep.
knows.
Yep.
Dak Prescott's playing phenomenal. Am I a true Dak Prescott believer as a Cowboy fan? He still got to show it to me. Not a true believer. I'm the kind of guy that still believes if Tony Romo was quarterback in Dak's rookie year, Dallas wins the Super Bowl that year. Because that team was made for Romo, as
Yep.
far as I'm concerned. But not a Dak hater, just not a full Dak believer as of yet, and anything to that effect with it.
I'll be honest with you. I've always kind of liked Dak going back to his college days. I liked Dak, and I was happy for him to play the way he did when he had to come in and play for Romo. But I agree with you. That team was built for Romo, and that was a stacked football team, and that was unfortunate because I do like Romo as well, and I like him even more now that I feel like I've got to know him a little bit as an announcer, and you see his personality a little bit and the way he talks about the game. I really enjoy Tony Romo, so yeah, that was a sad story, man. But yeah, I've always liked Dak, and I agree with you, dude. They're gonna beat the Packers pretty good. And I will pile on the Packers run defense. It's not good.
It's Packers run defense is very bad.
Yeah. So
But the Cowboys can't run the ball that well this year, which is,
yeah.
to me, that's a very frustrating point. I don't think Pollard's fully recovered from his broken ankle from last year. As far as that goes, he's lost that explosive step that he had coming
Yeah.
out. The Packers got some weapons. The biggest concern for me will be what's going to happen with Stephon Gilmore. He injured his shoulder. Shoulder popped out of place against Washington. He's going to play this week, but we'll see how effective he is.
Yep.
I can go on forever with the Cowboys. I mean, they got Bland, led the league in interceptions. My friends know my favorite quote: once the Cowboys got a game put away and Bland gets an interception and things of that effect with it. But I don't trust Bland as much in man-to-man coverage against a top receiver. That's where I really love Gilmore taking away that top guy.
Yep.
So we'll see how that
So
plays out. But
what's up with Gilmore?
like I said, his shoulder popped out of place against Washington. He's playing. There's no structural damage or anything to that effect with it, but he's going to have to play with a little bit of a sling to keep that from getting so loose and things of that effect with it. He didn't practice earlier this week. I do know that, but that's more a precautionary measure for the Cowboys as far as that goes. Micah Parsons is a beast. What can you say about him? Still think the refs
football at him. Run the football at him. That's what you say.
No, I don't think so. I don't. Everyone says that.
I would. That's what the Niners have done to beat you guys.
No, this is what the Niners have done. This is what the Niners did and what the Eagles do. They actually leave him unblocked and they make him think. And that's what you have to do with. That's what you have to do with Parsons. Is you kind of run the ball away and you run action back at him to where he has to hesitate.
I would like to see the Cowboys. I don't know how you feel about this. I haven't watched a ton of Cowboys football, but I would like to see Parsons play a lot more linebacker than he does.
So would I. I think they moved him to outside linebacker to get him paid, to be perfectly honest, as a full-time position, trying to get him as a defensive end edge rusher. Against the Dolphins, they did put him at middle linebacker a little bit more, use him a little bit more there. Early rundowns are putting him at middle linebacker. So I would like to see him there as well.
Likes, guys. Thank you. Marlo, thank you. If everybody clicks like, it is a big deal for us. And all these comments, if you guys want to talk in the chat, that helps us tremendously. This is our first ever stream. We're both super excited about this. It's going awesome. I'm having a great time. Love having a little bit of a community already. I'm going to have to invite some people. So, yeah, man. So, yeah, that all helps us with the algorithm. So, thank you, Marlo and Arturo and Kenneth.
Name says Marlo. That's Marlon.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah, that's Marlon.
Marlo, that was my favorite. That was my favorite character, man. In the what's that series, dude? HBO series, The Wire. The Wire. Marlo.
Oh, never watched The Wire. I can't. I know. I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't have said it out loud. I shouldn't have said it out loud. I know that.
Oh,
I haven't watched The Wire.
Oh man, we gotta get you on that and maybe have side discussions on the show every now and then.
Yeah, I should have said that out loud, but yeah.
It's a great show, great series. So I'm picking the Cowboys as well. I don't think it'll be that close. I like Jordan Love. I have to admit that I didn't always like Jordan Love, and I've been very, very critical of him and didn't really think he would turn out. But he's done the work, man, and he's looked good. So he deserves the praise. I don't have anything against the Packers. They had a great game against the Chiefs, and good for them. So, yeah, it's good to see them in the playoffs and good to see those young players. I really like their receiver room. They're full of a bunch of guys that I actually would have liked to draft for the Chiefs, and we would be in a lot better position had we done that. Yeah, so I'm glad to see the young Packers doing well, but they're not going to make it past this week. No. It's not going to happen.
I got 40-23, just as a heads up. So Cowboy fans, just know, blowout coming. Curse is over. Just saying that. Jimmy Johnson's been in the Ring of Honor. Curse is over. Things are going to break our way this year.
Kenneth Williams, you are correct. Season 2 of The Wire is a struggle. It is rough. But I think it's important to later parts of the story. So you could almost skip from season 1 and then just go straight to season 3, watch the remainder of the series, and then watch season 2 as a prequel or something like that. And you would be, I think, more entertained by it. I'm not sure. Or you could just cut it out altogether, to be honest, because, yeah, season 2 was rough. All right, back to sports. Are we good with the Cowboys?
Yeah, we're good with the Cowboys. Like, not going to lie, we do a show next week, Cowboys lose. You might see me in the corner of the room crying a little bit.
I ain't blaming you. I ain't blaming you at all.
Just letting you know that. I've told my friends nothing matters to the playoffs. I haven't talked about the regular season all year. playoffs is here. This is all that matters to me.
Well, and you like even last year there was a rough patch. I think Dak got hurt early in the year last year, right?
Was that last year already?
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
think
was
so.
last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that was
I
last year.
remember coming to practice and like you were done, dude. You were like,
I
it's
was.
over, it's over. I was like, come on, man. Like the backup's playing well, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't see you as a super optimistic person when it comes to the Cowboys. So
I haven't had reason
probably
to be, man. I've been heartbroken. Other teams have lost. They have not lost the way the Cowboys have lost games. I stand by that.
right. That's for sure. Arturo says if the Cowboys lose next week, Damien will conveniently have
Yep.
audio video difficulties. Yeah, I wouldn't put that past you.
No,
Yeah, sorry,
trust me.
man. Not gonna make it. Sorry, you're gonna have
No.
to
And my
scream on
brother, my
your own.
brother Dez, who hopefully is gonna try to start doing some intro music and stuff like that for us. He's a huge Green Bay Packer fan. I've already been talking
Sweet,
mess with him a little bit and
sweet.
everything else. So
Yeah, one of our young kids on our coaching staff has some tickets, and we're trying to encourage him to go down and watch the game. He was trying to flip the tickets for whatever reason, and
yeah.
because the weather kind of ended up in a bad situation. So I was trying to tell him, dude, go down to the game. He's a Packers fan. Go down to the game with your Cowboys buddy. Make an adventure, make some memories, have a great time.
Yep.
So hopefully he does that.
Yeah. He won't
Uh,
enjoy the trip back though. That's all. He won't enjoy the trip back. Fine.
hey man, I went to the Chiefs Raiders game on Christmas Day. That was rough, but I still had a blast.
Ooh.
Yeah, still had a blast. Okay, so let's get into Chiefs Dolphins. I'm going to try to keep this as unbiased as possible because I don't know. That's just the way I want to handle this. I am absolutely a Chiefs fan. No apologies there. But I just want to talk about my team in a unbiased manner. So I'll tell you, we're a good run team, and we run the ball more than we do. If Pacheco gets 20 carries, we'll win this game and win it pretty easily. If we start getting cute and doing stupid stuff on third and short, fourth and short, goal line situations, we might be in trouble because it just hasn't been the same offense since last year. Juju made a huge difference. I know you say it was Tyreek, but we won a Super Bowl without him. And Tyreek also has 9 drops and is second in the league in drops, so that's not helping the issue if he's back. I'm just saying. Because we lead the league in drops, 44 drops. That's the big problem, 6.9% drop rate. It's terrible. If you swap that with the 49ers, who have the best drop rate at 1.8%, so if you gave Mahomes that drop rate, it would be 33 fewer drops. That would lead to a minimum of about 327 more passing yards. That's a whole game worth of passing yards. And probably a few more touchdowns because a couple of those that were drops were wide open touchdowns. So I think it changes the offense if we don't have the ridiculously garbage wide receiver room that we have. I can't stand MVS. I'll argue with Chiefs fans all day. They like Richie James. I couldn't care less about Richie James. He has a 14% drop rate as well. The only guy in that whole room is Rashee Rice, and he's had drop issues, but he's got those fixed since he started playing more. Those were early on drop issues. I really like Rashee Rice. If he plays well, we should be fine. Um, Travis did a very unselfish thing and chose to purposely set out last week, even though he only needed, 15, 16 yards to have his 8th straight 1,000-yard season. And he,
Hello, hey, what's going on? What's going on? I think we lost some audio with Joe. Froze up a little bit. I'm asking you guys in the comments, do you guys got me or did we just lose Joe? See what's going on. Apologize for the audio difficulties here that we got going on. So if he's hung up, I'm going to go ahead and keep going on this just for a little bit here. Talk about my feelings on this. First off, hopefully everyone can find a way to watch this game. Um, it will be on the Peacock Network. If you have problems with the Peacock Network, feel free to find your favorite sports bar or something like that. They should have it up for streaming and everything else to that effect with it. Um, so we can get that going as far as what that goes. Um, but my feeling on this Chiefs Dolphins game is the Chiefs should definitely be able to handle this game against the Dolphins. Do not be surprised if the Dolphins only throw the ball about 15 times a game. I think the Dolphins are going to lean heavy on their running game with um, HN and Foster sitting there running the ball and everything else. I got you, Ken. I got you. All right. Thank you very much for that. Um, but I do think we'll just have a big game from the Chiefs on this. Patrick Mahomes should be able to navigate enough against this banged up Miami Dolphins defense um, to be able to get some yards going against this team here. Let's see. I think we got Joe coming back in.
Okay, I'm back
There we
in. I'm
go.
glad. I'm glad the stream didn't die. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Technical difficulties here. Somehow my power can't run the computer. I was like, no! Let me pick up my notes real quick. Like I was saying, Travis Kelsey he was given the choice by Andy Reid to play and go ahead and get that record and extend that record to 8 seasons. And he decided to rest up, which I thought was a very unselfish decision for him. I'm not sure what you said, but I'll just keep going. Um, so the offense would be a lot different if we didn't have those drops. The wide receiver room is a problem. If we go away from that and run the football, we should be fine. On defense, defense is the strength of the Chiefs. Like I don't think they get enough credit. But anyway, I don't want to yak too much about that. That defensive team is something special. Dolphins, they run the ball really, really, really well, man. Like they are one of the best run teams in the whole NFL. If they run the ball and do it well, that's the biggest problem for the Chiefs, I think. As you know, I'm not a gigantic, not a big Tua fan. I think
No, you're not.
you need to keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible, in my opinion. Like he's he's okay. I That's the best I can say about him. Yeah, Joe did pull an MVS.
I was going to mention that.
You got me there. Joe pulled an MVS. Drop that ball. Yeah, for sure, man. I love the Dolphins. I love the offensive roster that they have, everything except Tua. I think he limits that team terribly. So I would like to put the ball in his hand as much as possible. If you let Achan and all them dudes start going off, you're in trouble. Which is what they're going to want to do in the cold. They're going to want to run the football. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Tua, I will say this about him. Tua is a different quarterback in play action, just like Lamar is. And his completion percentage goes up to almost 71% when they're doing play action. He has 7 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. All of his interceptions, almost all of them except the 2, obviously, he has 12 interceptions in drop back passing. He doesn't do a good job reading. He doesn't do a good job going through his progression.
Mhm.
If the play breaks down and he has to go off schedule, he's maybe the worst quarterback in the league off schedule.
Agree with
He's
that.
just not very. He's just not very good. So if everything's going according to plan, and Tua can stay within that system, they'll be fine and they can win the game. And I will say this, man. Like I love Tyreek, and I know there's been a lot of shit talk back and forth. I think that's just the way Tyreek is. I don't take it personally. I would like to shut him up. So we'll definitely see what happens. I think he is the X factor in the game. You can't underestimate how much he wants this game coming back to KC. If he goes clean off, like I don't see a way you can stop the Dolphins. That being said, we put Snead on him last time and shut him down completely. He had the worst game of the year against us. His PFF score was like 58.9 against us. Snead held him to, I believe, 8 catches and 62 yards. And Tyreek is also, like I mentioned before, second in the league in drops. So my pick is the Chiefs in a frozen Arrowhead. I think we play there Home field matters, and so does the cold. So
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Earlier, I was talking about I don't think the Dolphins are going to throw the ball 20 times this game. They're going to try to keep it with HN and Mostert running the ball for them. I think they're going to try to control the game that way. I
yeah,
think they're too beat up on the defensive side to stop the Chiefs, though. That's the biggest thing. They lost Chubb
yeah,
um, down by 30 with 2 minutes to go in the game, and they lost him to a torn ACL. Just
yeah.
it's hard to keep great players off the field because they want to play, but man, there's just got to be a point where you got to tell players we can't put you out there. It's just a point where you got to do it. That's
You
going
had
to
to
hurt
do
them.
that. You had to do that a couple times this year in the high school season
Oh
with
yeah, man, that was.
with our
I got
young
some dirty.
linebacker.
I got some dirty looks from that, man. Got some dirty looks from that for doing that too.
Yeah, we used to joke around. As you guys know, we both coach football. We used to joke around on the headsets during the game on who was going to have to go tell Mason that he's coming out of the game.
Yeah, that was our
Because
start middle linebacker and our quarterback. And
yeah,
if I pulled him out, it was like there'd be a play where they'd be like, "Man, you got to take Mason out." I was like, "You go tell him." Like I ain't telling him.
yeah, man,
but
you might catch a stray from that dude.
but yeah, I don't know how the Dolphins recover. Sorry, excuse me, especially mentally with the downtrodden they're on and everything else. It's going to be a
Yeah,
little bit tough for them to go from that route with it.
yeah, yeah. I don't see it happening. But hey, we've done our playoff picks for quite a while. Are you ready to move on, sir, to our little bit more of a lighter segment about Pro Bowl snubs, or did you have anything final thoughts? We're good. Okay.
Nope, I'm good. Yep, I'm good.
All right, let's do our Pro Bowl snubs, man. So we're doing one from each of our teams, just so that we can keep ourselves from being too terribly biased, and then we're gonna do one from each conference. Um, you want to go ahead and start with your NFC guy?
The NFC guy, everyone's going to point to the main and obvious one. That's Antonio Winfield Jr. He should be starting at safety over Buda Baker.
Yeah.
Buda Baker just got the name. Fans voted him in, I'm sure. Cardinal fans voted him in. But what Antonio Winfield Jr. did this year is absolutely phenomenal. 122 tackles, 3 interceptions, forced fumble, sacks. I think he had 3 sacks on top of it as well. Phenomenal player. Um, Buda Baker was 0 in all those extra categories and everything else compared to what Antonio Winfield Jr. was. He's the most obvious of all that. He should definitely be in the Pro Bowl. Don't know how he's not even in the Pro Bowl, which is what's amazing to me on that standpoint of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that one. That's an easy one. I want to save my hard one. I'm going to save my hard one because it's going to be a conversation for my hard one, man. But I got another easy one in my opinion. My easy one is Brandon Ayuk for receiver. I think it's easy to make a case for him being Pro Bowl wide receiver. He obviously set one game because they were in a position where they didn't need to play him. So I don't like to penalize players for a game that they set because their team is really good. If you, I think the most likely guy that you replace on that roster, and I don't want to make this sound like a knock on him because I love the kid, but I think the guy that you probably take off the roster to replace and put Brandon Ayuk in his place is Puka Nacua. And look, like it's nothing against Puka at all. He has more catches. He has 105 catches, but that's kind of my point. Brandon Ayuk has 30 less catches and almost the same yards. And he has more touchdowns, Brandon Ayuk. And he doesn't have a fumble. So he hadn't turned the ball over. So for those reasons, it's nothing against Puka whatsoever. But I do give the nod to Brandon Ayuk because it's just an eye test for me. I think Brandon Ayuk is one of the most technical route runners that exist in the NFL. The dude is a very, very good route runner.
No, most definitely. Um,
Hey,
I
see
can't
you, see you later, Arturo. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
He's a huge Rams fan. That's his
Oh.
thing. He's a huge Rams fan, and he took out Puka.
Oh man. Okay, I got it. I thought he was literally just signing off.
He's a huge Rams fan.
Oh, dude, it's nothing against Puka. I love Puka, man. It is absolutely nothing against it. Sorry, Arturo. I thought you were seriously signing off, bro. But no, it's nothing against Puka, man. Like, I love the dude. It's just, if you look at all those guys on the Pro Bowl roster for the NFC wide receivers, they're all deserving. I just think Ayuk deserves it a little bit more.
I can't disagree with it. Stat wise, NFC had a bunch. NFC had a bunch of great wide receivers, so
Yeah.
it was a tough vote.
Yeah.
I would probably agree with it just because Puka was a rookie.
Yeah.
Ayuk's been proven through it and everything else. I probably would have gone with Ayuk. Puka had a lot of catches, did the thing, but he didn't really affect games, in my opinion.
Ooh, I don't know if I go that far.
Well, when I say affect games, he got a lot of catches. Yes, he made first downs, but can you tell me a Puka highlight?
Yeah, he had one super long run after the catch up the right sideline against.
Was it the Saints game that you're talking about?
I think so.
That was week
I think
17.
so.
That was week 17. So I mean, it's week 16 or 17. But that's what I mean. Before that play, basically.
Arturo says he's going to send you all of them, brother.
Oh, I'm sure he will. So I mean, that's he's a solid receiver. He did his thing. He was a solid receiver. If I'm looking for playmakers, I would take Ayuk in front of Puka. But both are great receivers so far. We'll see how Puka keeps translating and everything else.
He said Arturo said he did have a game winner versus the Colts in overtime. That's a big deal. That's a game changer.
Yep, that's a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just my one. That's my one argument against Puka.
Yeah, that's mine. So I think he played one less game. He only had 144 less yards on 30 fewer catches, one more touchdown, and fewer fumbles with 0 turnovers. So big deal for me there on that. But like I said, Puka Nacua, maybe offensive rookie of the year. So
yeah, definitely. Well, if they do it at NFC one, rookie of the year is going to be CJ.
Yeah,
it's going to be CJ.
I believe they still do an NFC AFC one. I'm not sure though.
So he'll definitely be NFC rookie of the year.
What's your next one?
If I do my AFC guy, it's going to be Snead from the Chiefs. He's going to be the guy. Chiefs defense is dominant. I think he's a big reason for that. He follows the other team's best receivers around a lot of time, makes plays there. So, I mean, if I go with an AFC guy, it's going to be Snead from the Chiefs. I think he got snubbed, left out of the conversation and things of that effect with it. Not saying Surtain or anything like that isn't deserving.
No, it's not Surtain. I'll tell you who doesn't belong. It's Jalen Ramsey. He only played 10 games. And,
Ramsey. I forgot he was in there. Yeah. Now, Ramsey made plays when he came back, but yeah.
He did, but he only played
on that.
Yeah, only played 10 games. I think he got in there because he had 3 picks in the 10 games that he played, which is phenomenal. I'm not saying it's not, but if you start looking deeper into the stats and the coverages and some of the yardage and stuff given up, and Ramsey did give up a touchdown, and Snead did not.
Ramsey wasn't Ramsey from the past. We'll say that. Ramsey wasn't the complete lockdown corner that he's been in the past and stuff to that effect with it. So, I mean, especially when you look at what, to me, truly carried the Chiefs was their defense, just to be honest. I don't know how you leave Snead off that boat.
I don't know either, man. I don't get it. Just to be completely transparent, that was my pick for the Chiefs as far as their Pro Bowl snub. I think that was the easiest one, maybe, and it's just like I don't get it, man. I'm sorry. I love Jalen Ramsey. I have no problem with him. I just don't think it was a Pro Bowl year for him. You can't play only 10 games and go to a Pro Bowl. Sorry.
Don't disagree with that. If I go to my Dallas Cowboy player that I think got snubbed, when I look at the list, it's pretty accurate as far as probably who should have made the Pro Bowl for the Cowboys. The one guy that I'll say probably would deserve to go would be Ferguson for the Cowboys at the tight end position. It's hard to leave Kittle off. I know that. Laporta had a great year as well. So it's hard to take one of them guys off or anything to that effect with it. But the one guy I would say was Ferguson because when it came down to the Cowboys offense, he was the number 2 option for the most part. He helped Dak get in the comfort zones. He made plays. If someone got in his face, to me, he's actually the emotional spark for this Cowboys offense. He would get in players' faces on the defense and stuff like that. Yeah. So Ferguson would be my pick from the Cowboys of anyone that should have deserved to go to the Pro Bowl that didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Yep. Kind of my thoughts on that too. Just on a side note, why can't we just fill out a normal 53-man roster for the Pro Bowl? Because I don't think
Yeah,
it's a full 53-man roster, is it? Like, there's no way. If you're only taking, most teams carry 3 tight ends. Is my point.
yeah.
So why can't you have 3 tight ends?
But with it being the Pro Bowl games now, anyway, it doesn't really matter as much. Other
It
than
doesn't.
players getting bonuses and things.
Yeah, I'm happy for them, but I mean, the Pro Bowl doesn't mean as much as it used to, in my opinion. I think it needs to be after the Super Bowl again. I think it needs to be a real football game, but it's never going back to that, man. So that's the way
Yeah,
it is.
it's what it is with it.
I don't take the Pro Bowl all that seriously. It is what it is. All Pro is pretty important. But anyway, we were talking about our Pro Bowl snubs, so I'm going to get to my next one, and I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. You and I talked before the stream a little bit about it. I'm interested to see what you think about it, and maybe discuss it, argue a little bit about this. So my Pro Bowl snub is Josh Allen at quarterback, and I know some people have a problem with him, and they call him a turnover machine and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to lay out my argument here. Josh Allen has a total of 4,830 total yards there and 44 total touchdowns that he accounted for, with 22 total turnovers. So I think his turnovers get a little bit blown out of proportion if you compare him to, I don't know, let's say Tua. Tua has 29 total touchdowns and 19 total turnovers. That ratio is not anywhere near the same thing. So, Tua fumbles the ball just about as much as Josh. Turned the ball over quite a bit. If it was up to me, I'd pull Tua off the whole damn Pro Bowl roster. I know that's a little bit of a crazy take or a hot take, whatever you want to call it, because he is the starter. I don't think he should be the starter because Lamar is probably our MVP. And how do you not have the MVP?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working overtime, bro. But how do you not have the MVP as the starter in the Pro Bowl? That doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No, I mean I get that for him.
And just to be fair, before you go, real quick, just to be fair, if you wanted to make the argument of taking Pat Mahomes off of the Pro Bowl roster, I could hear that argument. I've looked at the stats, and I can definitely see where those arguments would come from. And frankly, it really doesn't matter to me anyway because he never plays in the Pro Bowl because we're always playing in the Super Bowl. But I will say there is a little bit of an eye test for me, and my final argument would be if you take Tua off the Dolphins and you put Josh Allen on, is that offense more scary? Yep. If you take Tua off and you put Patrick Mahomes on the Dolphins, is that offense more scary? Sure the hell is. So I just think both of those guys are better than Tua.
Well, I guess for me, for the Pro Bowl, sometimes and it kind of contradicts other arguments that we talked about because Buda Baker might be a better safety than Antonio Winfield Jr. He might be, but
You think
statistically,
so?
I'm just saying he could be. This just fill my argument.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to argue that Mahomes and Allen and Lamar aren't better than Tua. I don't think anyone's going to argue that standpoint of it. But when the Pro Bowl voting is done, which is done with about 3 to 4 weeks less when they finalize the seat stats and everything else,
Yeah.
Tua was having a top-notch season. He was having a top-notch season. And I think the biggest reason for that is obviously Tyreek Hill. So if you want to make that argument for me, that if it wasn't for Tyreek Hill, Tua wouldn't be where he's at, I could definitely believe that more than anything. Because I think
might not even be a starter still.
Yeah, because to me, no matter who the quarterback is, Tyreek's going to be Tyreek because he just has that skill ability.
Yeah.
To me for Tyreek. So yeah, if you want to make that argument, if I honestly had to pull a quarterback off the AFC just based off this year, I might have to go Mahomes. And it's not that I don't think Mahomes is a great player, but when you look at the Chiefs' offense in general, and Kenneth Williams would have commented in the chat earlier, he thinks it's because Bieniemy's gone. for why the Chiefs' offense is struggling and everything else. You're a big
Yeah,
Chiefs fan. You follow that, so you would know more about that and everything else, in my opinion.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I've heard all that chatter, and a lot of people are saying Bieniemy was the guy that held people accountable, and that certainly is a needed aspect on any coaching staff. And I have absolutely nothing against Eric Bieniemy at all. Um, I wish him nothing but the best, but I disagree. I don't think things are much different. It's that wide receiver room. That wide receiver room is bad. You went and paid MVS like a starting receiver. He's the fourth highest paid player on the roster. He's not performing like it. You went and drafted Sky Moore over Pickens. That was a dumb move. Um, and it just kind of goes on and on. And you have Justin Ross on the roster, and he plays well, and you don't use him. You don't use him. You'd rather trot out Richie James and Watson. I mean, Watson is just a guy. Like literally, he's a 5 or 6 year player that was a special teams only guy on the Buccaneers, and then we got him, and all of a sudden he's a featured receiver in the offense. And yeah, he's fast and he can do some things. He would be a really nice fifth receiver, but not a number two. Like Justin Watson isn't that dude, man.
I don't think the Chiefs want him to be a number two. I just
No.
always believe sometimes you see players and you're like, why aren't they getting in? Things to
Yeah.
that effect with it. Especially
Yeah.
on the NFL level.
Yeah.
If someone's not getting the offense or grasping the offense or anything to that effect with it, I don't think coaches can play that person, no matter how talented they are.
So Arturo brought up the guy that I left off, Kadarius Toney. So I have a really nuanced opinion on Kadarius Toney. Number one, he's still a young player. He is a lot of physical ability and talent. And let's be completely honest, a lot of people, they're what have you done for me lately kind of folks. But let's be honest, we wouldn't have won a Super Bowl last year without Kadarius Toney. So yeah, has he been crappy this year? Yeah, he's been crappy. He's made some terrible plays. He's screwed some things up for us. I'm not quite done with the Kadarius Toney experiment, even if he just becomes more of a gadget player and not a featured receiver. It was kind of a rumor out there going into the year that they wanted Kadarius Toney to be the number one receiver in this offense, and he's obviously not that. However, when he was last year, when he was the third receiver, and you had Juju and MVS was playing, oh well, yes, yeah, I agree, Arturo. Get a true number one, and he'll be fine. Um, when you had a number one receiver, and then you had Kelsey, and then Kadarius Toney was a third or fourth option, that dude was a problem. So I think he still can be. I think you just need to go add some real depth and talent to the receiver room. I'm not done with Tony yet. I am done with Sky Moore. I am done with MVS. I am done with Watson. You can cut all three of them as far as I'm concerned. I have no interest in it. But yeah, that's enough Chiefs talk. But yeah, man, that's my thing, dude. Is I would like to see Josh Allen in the Pro Bowl. I think he deserves it. Obviously the Bills are a little bit of a rivalry for us as of recent, the last few years. But I have nothing but respect for the Bills and Josh Allen and what they do over there. And I love to watch Josh Allen play football. And I don't think it's a true Pro Bowl without him. And he's the better quarterback, in my opinion. Even if you got to take Mahomes out, to be honest. I can see that argument.
Allen's had a good year. My only argument with that Josh Allen is if Dak threw that many interceptions, which he did last year, everyone's ready to get rid of him and throw him off to the side.
I get it.
Sometimes seasons like that happen, but it's what it is.
I think Allen pushes the ball down the field a lot more than Dak. That's what I would say.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You think?
I don't know.
Well, Dak has pushed the ball a little bit more this year, hasn't he?
I'll say Josh probably did, and Josh probably does, and that's why he has more interceptions this year.
That's my point.
Yeah,
he'll
more interceptions.
A little bit more of a gunslinger. I'm okay with that kind of quarterback, actually, because what he gives you on the ground, I mean, almost 600 yards on the ground, 15 rushing touchdowns. That's tied for second in the league, including running backs. in rushing touchdowns.
Mhm.
He's tied. Excuse me. He's tied with Jalen Hurts on 15 and 15 rushing touchdowns. And let's be honest, most of Jalen's were the tush push.
Yeah,
So
which will probably be legal next year.
yeah, yeah, exactly, man. All right, dude.
If I was
So
the Eagles, sorry, real quick, if I was the Eagles, you know what play I'd run all game against Tampa? It would be the tush push because they can't do nothing else. Just wanted to get that out there. Be the only play I'd run.
I ain't
Tush
running that
push.
crap against Vita Vea. Are you kidding me? That Vita Vea, that's a grown man out there.
He is, but that's their best play. That's all they got. Just want to put that out
Yeah,
there.
man, for sure. But hey, bro, like we've been streaming for an hour and a half. Is there anything you want to
Yeah.
talk about before we wrap it up?
No, like I said, thanks to the people that have came on and listened. Let's make sure we try to get some subscribers and things of that effect with it. We'll be having just some fun talks and things of that effect with it. I mean, we got what 5-6 weeks
One
left of
second.
football. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
We got
no,
about
sorry. There we go. Sorry. I had a lighting issue. Sorry.
Gotcha. We got about 5-6 weeks left of football season and everything else to that effect with it. But like I say, we'll go into some NBA stuff. We'll be talking NBA. Like I say, you're a
Yep,
Lakers fan. I'm a 76ers fan.
for
And we'll
sure.
go into some things like that. We'll probably talk some off subjects of football a little bit and things to that effect with it. I'm sure we'll do that. I'll try to catch up on the wire, and we'll start having some talks on the wire and things to that
Yeah,
effect with
man.
it.
For sure, dude. For sure. You gotta watch
Um,
that. Like today,
yeah,
it's a snow day, dude. Go watch The Wire.
yeah. But thanks to everyone that tuned in. Whatever you got left, man.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. I'm definitely looking forward to this. I had a great time doing this. We're gonna do a couple of cut ups on this and put out some shorts for everybody, and hopefully try to draw in more subscribers and viewers, so we can have a bigger audience and more interaction. I'm really happy with what we did. I'm looking forward to talking about all kinds of sports, and maybe it'll give me a reason to watch more NBA basketball because I have not watched a lot of basketball the last couple of years because I am a Lakers fan and I cannot stand LeBron. But we'll get to that. We will get to that some
Uh,
other time,
we
man.
got plenty of time for that.
Yeah. All right. So signing off. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that supported us. Thank you, D Rob. Thank you to my son, who is our producer for the last hour and a half. And we'll talk to you later, guys.
Thank you.